And go. Hello, everybody. It's going to be a very good week of football this week. Lots of big time action. Just wait until the end. That's when it's going to get really fun, and there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about. But welcome back. This is going to be NCAA football picks week 4. Or I'm sorry, week 5. 5. But so we upped this week actually to 25 games. That's due to the amount of great games that they were going to be on this week. So we've upped it up to 25. We'll be picking 25 this week instead of the normal 20 that we do. But as always, we will. Well, actually, while I head over to Shockers of the Week, what are the cheapest tickets out there?
What are the cheapest tickets out there for this week, Mitch? Well, we start in the $9 range. Appalachian State at Georgia State. That's a pretty good one right there. Scrolling down the list, we don't got very many others. San Jose State at home against New Mexico State. Tickets are as low as $8. Uh, After that, I mean, you got a couple of $8 games against Virginia. Come on, Miami fans, you will pour against Michigan State, so show up. Other than that, you got two $3 games. And we got a tie for cheapest ticket because Northwestern is not home, which means they don't have the cheapest ticket anymore. Illinois at home against Charlotte. Tickets as low as $3. And then, can I interest you in the toilet bowl? Vanderbilt at home against UConn. Tickets as low as $3 for the Vanderbilt Commodores at home against UConn.
I really, honestly, that game actually does sound very fun. It is on at 7:30 on ESPNU, so I actually will be watching that.
I would if I wasn't up in the woods. I'm up in the woods, probably playing basketball or something. I don't know. Something up in the woods. Maybe a bonfire at that point. Yeah, it'll only be 4:30 here.
It's gonna be that should be a very fun game. It's gonna be very fun to watch. I'll be home by then, so I'm just gonna be watching that to see how bad it is. But I mean, I didn't put it on our list of games this week because I knew we'd all be picking Vanderbilt. But none of us are crazy enough to pick. You can. So now we do our shockers of the week, and actually I am first. So I'll start with mine. I do have Sam's as well. As you can tell, he's not with us again. I'm guessing he's roughing because he has not responded to my text at all. So my shocker for this week is going to be Oklahoma and Kansas State. I have the Kansas State Wildcats taking the win at home against number 6 Oklahoma. Yes, I'm going against a team that I picked in fantasy. I hate it very much. Um, but
That's gonna happen 3 years in a row.
yeah, I mean it would be big time. It would be definitely a shock to see Kansas State win yet again. But I think Kansas State 100% has it in them. I mean, they have a great team. Oklahoma just keeps slugging their way through games. They barely won at home against West Virginia. And Kansas State has a very solid team. And Oklahoma isn't going to be able to or Oklahoma isn't going to be able to slug their way past Oklahoma. I don't see that happening. It's going to be a good game for sure. And I mean, Oklahoma does have a possibility of winning it, but they have not looked good. They have struggled all season long, and they are not like Notre Dame or Oklahoma State, like I was talking about earlier in the top 25 video. If you have not seen that, go ahead and watch that. But Oklahoma has not grown out of those growing pains. They look bad against Tulane. They look bad against Nebraska. They look bad against West Virginia. They kept us sneaking away. And honestly, I don't know if they'll get away with that again against Kansas State. And I'm going with the Wildcats. And Svensky, how about you? I know what you have, but let them know.
At the beginning of the season, I actually had Kansas State upsetting Oklahoma, but after Skylar Thompson got hurt, I knew I was going to be the starting quarterback. I just couldn't pick him at that point. Not that Skylar Thompson. I don't know. I think Oklahoma, all they've been hearing recently is how bad they are. Spencer Rattler just got called for his backup, so somebody is going to have to be fired up and up for blood. And who better to do it against than the team that beat you, upset you the past 2 years? So I'm not saying Kansas State can't, but I don't know, it's too risky for me. I'm going to go with a pretty risky one, too, though. I don't know if it's really that risky, though. I'm going to go with the Charlotte 49ers on the road at Illinois, 9-point underdogs. Illinois did not look good this year, even with Brandon Peters. We won Brandon Peters looked good. Charlotte's looked decent. Upset Duke, which is a team that I think is probably pretty equivalent, if not better than Illinois. So they've already proven that they can beat lower tier Power 5 schools. I think Illinois is lower tier Power 5 school. Do I think it can happen? Probably not. Do I think it's would be a shocker? Yes. Am I willing to take it for a 9-point line? Heck yes. So give me the 49ers over the and if you want to explain Sam's pick.
Yes, as I said earlier, I do have Sam's pick. I'll fix all that later, but I do have Sam's pick. I don't know why he's choosing this, but he has the Duke Blue Devils beating North Carolina. Yeah. So that's gonna be a big line for him. I don't really have exactly. I'm not gonna try and look for all that because I'll just copy it in later. But that's his shocker of the week. He has Duke over North Carolina. Um, that's his choice. I would not go with that, but yeah. I mean, if he got it, he'll get 18 and a half points or somewhere around there. But yeah, he's got Duke over North Carolina, so he'll either cash in big or he'll miss out completely.
After he went conservative last week and then got blown out and let Texas score 7 points. But,
Right, right. All right.
conservative.
All right, yes. So we'll be now doing our picks of the week. Now, I have decided actually I made the spaces a little bigger so I could fit in the records for all the teams while we were doing this. I figured it'd be a nice little touch just to see what the team's record was while we're picking them. I don't know. That's my feeling. But we start off this week with BYU, number 13, BYU on the road against Utah State, coming off their first loss of the season against Boise State. Was not happy with that game whatsoever. They looked terrible.
Didn't end up being a good shocker pick. No, the Boise State uniforms were
Yeah.
ice uniforms.
But Utah State did not look good against Boise State. BYU has looked nothing short of very impressive so far. They did let their guard down a little late against USF, but this is still a great BYU team. I have them winning on the road against Utah State. I'm not picking them in this one.
Serious? This is the most expensive ticket of the week.
BYU against Utah State.
$155 is the lowest ticket, according to ESPN. Arkansas at Georgia is 134. That's 155. Oh my gosh, what the heck are Utah State fans on? Do they just have money? No, give me Cougars to continue to see them.
Yeah, I don't know what Utah State is smoking. That's
$55 to go on your team lose.
okay. Either they think they're going to win or they're hoping. I don't know.
Next game.
Yeah, moving on. We have Mississippi State on the road against number 15 Texas A&M, coming off their first loss to Arkansas. So this is another interesting game. Mississippi State is kind of all over the place. Texas A&M's coming off their first loss of the year. This is one that I think A&M should win, especially at home. I think they rebound after that tough loss at home against was looking like a really good Arkansas team, and I think they rebound. They take the win against Mississippi State and improve their 4-1.
Yeah, Calzada's got to get a lot more comfortable in the A&M offense. It's a very complicated offense, so it's not really throw somebody into it. They're super comfortable right away. So Calzada's got to get good, got to get more comfortable. And I think at home, Mississippi State's pretty good thing to get comfortable in. The Mississippi State defense isn't anything too crazy special. But, I mean, Mississippi State did beat NC State. So that win is looking a lot better now. But, yeah, still, I think this is a good game for A&M to rebound at home. So, give me Aggies.
All right. And next we have the Florida Gators on the road against Kentucky. This is a underrated matchup in my opinion. This is a good one. I think this is a game that Kentucky really could give Florida problems. I have not liked anything that I've seen from Emory Jones so far this year. This is a game I think that could trip up the Gators. I think still though Florida slips away. They hand Kentucky their first loss of the season. It should be a very good game, but I think Florida is too good of a team to get tripped up by the Wildcats on the road.
Henry Jones looked great last week. They're finally finding out how to utilize him to the fullest of his abilities, where he can work best in the offense. Henry Jones has looked a lot more comfortable the past 2 weeks. Kentucky just barely beat South Carolina. Also, almost lost in home to Chattanooga. I don't trust this Kentucky team. They're trying to run a really outdated system from what I've seen. Giving the Gators pretty comfortably. I do not like that Kentucky team from what I've seen.
All right, and now we have Ohio State on the road against Rutgers.
It's going to be a sneaky good game.
Yeah, it is another interesting one. I mean, Rutgers obviously gave the Wolverines a big time challenge last week. It was a little.
If the Buckeyes blow out Rutgers, I'm giving up on this season. I just give up.
But they made it Rutgers making it close last week with Michigan. It was a little scary for us Wolverine fans, but we escaped anyway. Handed Rutgers their first loss. Ohio State, finally looked a bit more like Ohio State last week after smoking Akron.
It was Akron. I could have been the starting quarterback, and we still would have beaten Akron. All I have to do is hand off screen passes to Chris Olave. Shoot a good screen pass to Chris Olave, and he's gone. That's all I have to do.
Well, in any case, I have Ohio State. I think Rutgers could maybe somehow win this game, but I got the Buckeyes taking this one.
Yeah, I mean, I got the Buckeyes too, because this could be a sneaky close game. If it's not, Michigan fans just give up hope. The season's over. It's not over, but if they blow out Rutgers, that's not good. But yeah, I still think Ohio State's the more talented team, and I think talent will win out in this case. So give me the Buckeyes.
And now we have USF on the road against SMU. I don't remember why I put this low. This should have been like one of the first ones. Anyway, I have SMU. USF has not looked too good. SMU is coming off a big win against TCU and is still undefeated and is at home. So give me the SMU Mustangs in this one pretty big.
Yeah, why did we put this one on? Give me SMU.
Yeah, I don't remember why this one was on here. Whatever.
I don't know either.
We need some easy games this week anyway. Next one is Syracuse on the road against Florida State. Florida State has looked so bad this year. I don't know what has happened to the Seminoles. They just do not look good. And honestly, I don't know if they win this week. I got Syracuse. They look like a better team. Florida State has looked so bad. And it is a road game. I think Florida State easily could beat Syracuse. But with how terrible the Seminoles have looked, I mean, Mackenzie Milton has not really been in at quarterback. Jordan Travis. I think it's Jordan Travis, right?
Yes.
Either way. The quarterback situation has not looked good from either. Their whole team has just looked absolutely terrible. And Syracuse just beat a pretty solid Liberty team, and I mean that's not good.
They beat the Malik Willis Liberty team. They are rolling with confidence. That Liberty team came into the Carrier Dome, kicked our butts last year. We went into the Carrier Dome this year and kicked their. Not we didn't kick their butts. We kicked the game-winning field goal. All of a sudden, come back and beat us. But we still walked out of there with a win. There is no quarterback controversy anymore. Tommy DeVito is benched. He's done. Jarrett Schrader looked great. I mean, not amazing. He was only 6 of 15 for 77 yards, but he was able to run the ball. Sean Tucker looked good at running back. I think the Syracuse team marches into Tallahassee and gives Florida State the fifth loss of the season. Let's go Orange. I'm just glad that Tom DeVito's not playing anymore. He was terrible.
This would be a big time win for Syracuse and for Florida State. Have they ever been 0-5 in a season before?
It'd be a huge win for Syracuse. Oh my word.
I'm just trying to figure out if Florida State has ever been 0-5 in a year before. Anyway, we have a very good matchup here with Iowa. Number 5 Iowa on the road against undefeated Maryland. Iowa doesn't tend to play well on the road, so this is really another big contest or test for Iowa, who obviously they had Indiana at the beginning of the year, or Indiana, if you saw the little mistake. I'm never gonna forget that. How'd you screw up the name on the name of your own college on the jersey? I mean, it's only one player, but still, how do you do that? And one player, like, how do you screw it up on one person? I don't know. I don't know how you do that. And then also Iowa ended up being Iowa State, who, yeah, they lost to Baylor, but I would overlook that. Baylor kind of looks like a really good team. Plus, it was a road game. Baylor's not easy to play on the road. So Iowa yet another big challenge. They don't tend to play, like I said, they don't tend to play well on the road in the Big Ten. But I still have Iowa winning this one. It is definitely a trap game, with their next game being Penn State at home. So you bet this is going to be very close, but I still think Iowa slips away, and then we'll prepare for their big time showdown with Penn State at home in Iowa City next week.
I started the season, and I think I've just preseason put Maryland at like 4-8 or 3-9, just because I didn't know a lot about Maryland outside of the fact that I love. Maryland has impressed me this year. Maryland's looked pretty good. I know Maryland at home is a sneaky game. I think Maryland at home gets done. I think it's a trap game, and I think they do trip up a lot of guys. I could see this game going either way. I think I'm gonna Hail Mary big play. I'm gonna take Maryland in a sneaky upset. I mean, you don't got to score a lot of points to beat Iowa. You don't got to score a lot of points. I think Tagovailoa is better than any quarterback in the Big Ten West.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, man, I think I'm gonna take Maryland in a close one. I could see this game going either way, but I think I'm gonna take the upset. Just Iowa at home, Iowa on the road, having to having Penn State the next week is really tricky. And then the big thing is it's just defensive teams are always going to be it's always going to be a nail biter when you're a defensive team. Because if you can't score a lot of points and put yourself out of the game, put yourself out of reach, it's like a 7-0 game. That's easy momentum change with one play. So I think it'll be a close defensive effort, but I think Maryland gets done at home.
All right. And we have now the Oregon Ducks on the road against Stanford. A lot of really interesting matchups. This is another interesting one. I mean, Stanford, obviously they had that big win again. They had that big time blowout on the road against USC, who looks terrible. But I mean, Stanford overall, not that terrible of a team. They have a decent team. Oregon has looked very good. I think this is a sneaky good game, but I do believe Oregon will get it done. I think the Ducks just have enough. I think they slip away. They sneak out of Stanford with a close win. I think Stanford has a chance of maybe pulling off an upset, but I don't think it happens. I think the Ducks escape escape Stanford with a win. Stay 5-0.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think just Stanford's the better team, and I think even going into not Stanford's the better team. Oregon's the better team And going to Stanford, I mean, it's going to be a fun game. It's going to be a noon game. It's always interesting to see these Pac-12 teams play at noon. You never know what you're going to get. But I think Oregon is the better team. I think on a neutral field, they're about 10, 12 points better. And then so even on the road, they're 4 or 5 points better. It can be a close game. I think it's a potential chance for a trap, but give me Oregon.
All right, and the next one's going to be a really fun one. Arizona State on the road against UCLA.
This
Here's
is
an
the big.
interesting.
This is the season. I want to start with this one. This is ASU. This is like the season for ASU. Like ASU needs to get the rest of the 12 South looks like garbage. It looks terrible. So if ASU could go into UCLA, the only other team that looks like a Pac-12 South contender, and get a win, that puts themselves squarely in the driver's seat. And if I'm not mistaken, they don't have to play Oregon. They don't have to play Oregon. Oregon was not one of their draws from the North. So, yeah. Um, that being said, I think I'm going to pick UCLA. But this is huge for both these teams. Because whoever wins this is squarely in the driver's seat for the Pac-12 South. Just because the rest of the Pac-12 South looks terrible. After Charlie Brewer left, Utah looks terrible. USC looks like hot garbage. Then Colorado and Arizona are the well-known dumpster fires of the Pac-12 South.
But yeah, no, Arizona State did not draw Oregon. The teams that they drew from the north were
It's because in the Pac-12 you draw 4 of the 6 on the other side.
yeah, they drew Washington State, Washington, Stanford, I believe,
And
and
Washington and then
and
Oregon's.
Oregon State. Those are the teams that they drew from the north.
Yeah, if you are one of the teams, if you're one of the two teams in the South that doesn't get the Oregon draw, that's always better for you.
Yeah, UCLA I know did draw Oregon. Anyway, for my pick,
They do have Oregon at home though, so that's going to be a fun one in a couple weeks.
yeah, so for me, Arizona State, UCLA, this is a 50-50 game. I think this is a coin flip. Either team wins this. This is not, and this is gonna be a very late game. So I'm gonna stay up for it. It's 10:30, so I'll stay up for it. It's gonna be and it is national television, so I will it is Fox Sports One. So this is gonna be an outstanding game. I think, like I said, coin flip. This goes either way. I'm gonna give the slight edge. Oh, wow. It is really hard to choose because you look at UCLA, you got Zach Charbonnet, you got their other running back, you got Dorian Thompson Robinson, a great offense, and I mean, the defense is there. And Arizona State, obviously, quarterback, very good. They both have very solid teams. It's a 50-50 game. I don't know who to pick because it's so just even. I pick,
That's why I went with the home team.
honestly, I'm gonna go with ASU. I'm gonna take the Sun Devils in a very close one. UCLA has a solid team, but they have shown they are vulnerable. Herm Edwards is a smart head coach. I think he takes advantage. Chip Kelly's a good head coach too, but I think ASU gets it done. As you said, this is a season for both teams, and ASU has not played in this is, I think, the conference opener for both teams, is it not?
No, UCLA played somebody, I think. UCLA, yeah, UCLA played
Oh, it's
Stanford
Stanford.
last
They
week,
played Stanford.
and ASU played Colorado last week.
Oh, so well, both teams are 1-0 in the conference, and I think this is a big game. As I said, 50-50. I'm going with ASU to get the upset. I think
I'm not complaining.
this
I'm
is
not
one of
complaining
those
with you at all.
games that I think is a 50-50 ball, and I got Arizona State. UCLA is that kind of team that just loses at points that you don't expect it. I think ASU gets the slight edge in this one.
For my first ASU game, when I got here, tell me I still have the picture. Do I not have the picture anymore? Oh no, where is it? Oh man, I'll find it. But I remember the first ASU game I went to, it was Jaden Daniels was starting for the first year, which Jaden Daniels is our quarterback now. And my dad and I were like, this kid's going to be something in a couple of years. And you know who they were playing? UCLA. And you know who UCLA had? Ex-Michigan man Wilton Spate at quarterback. And now you've got Jaden Daniels against UCLA with ex-Michigan running back. Zach Sharp.
Well, at least that. Well, I mean, I guess Wilton Spade wasn't that bad, but Zach Charbonnet is a monster. So,
I will die on the hill. I will die on the hill when I say Wilton Spate, pre-injury in 2016, was our best quarterback under Harbaugh. Maybe him and Jake Rudolph. What? Before the injury in 2016, I think Wilton Spate was our best quarterback, but then he got hurt. I believe it was the Iowa game that we lost. But anyway, moving on.
and so now we got Texas on the road against TCU. This is another interesting game. Texas just put a 70 foot, same thing. 70 point does unload a 70 point bomb on Texas Tech last week. Don't know where that came from. And then TCU coming off their first loss of the year at home to SMU in the Iron Skillet battle. It still cracks me up that
I love that they were holding up the Iron Skillet. I'm like, that's
it really is quite funny. So in this one, this is another. I think this is a game that I think Texas will take it. I think this is another game that's kind of 50-50, but I'm going to go. I think Texas has the slighter edge. I think the Longhorns sneak away, take the win on the road.
TCU is just not looked great this year, and they've just allowed way too many explosive plays. And what's the one thing Texas can actually do? Explosive plays for huge yards. Just scored 70 points against Texas Tech. Yeah, I'm going to take the Texas Longhorns for this one, too.
All right. And the next one will be Minnesota on the road against Purdue. So here's another game that's kind of interesting because you look at Minnesota, they made it close with Ohio State at the beginning of the year. They have some other wins. I'm sorry. They made it close against. They made it close against Ohio State. They blanked Colorado.
In Colorado, too. I mean,
on the road, yes, in Colorado, on the road, and then they laid an egg against Bowling Green at home.
One of the worst FBS teams this year. They laid an egg against Bowling Green. It's terrible. Bowling Green is not good.
So you think North Carolina is a very polarizing team? Here's probably the close second right here. Minnesota heading on the road to play Purdue. Purdue's lost 2 weeks ago, I believe. They won last week against. Or did they win? No, yeah. Purdue beat somebody last week. Who was it? They beat somebody. I can't remember who.
They beat Illinois 13-9.
Oh, right, Illinois. Okay. This is going to be a really interesting game. Purdue does not look great. Minnesota's coming off an embarrassing loss. They're up and down, but I think this is going to be one of their up days. They're a giant wild card, but I think Minnesota's the better team. I think Minnesota takes it. I like Tanner Morgan. I don't like Purdue. Give me Minnesota. They're a better team overall.
Yeah, I would definitely take Purdue 9 out of 10 times if we knew what the quarterback situation was there. I think I'm still going to take Purdue. It depends on out of Tanner Morgan. He did just put up 10 points against one of the worst defenses, or only 10 points against one of the worst defenses in college football. And then he was able to score 20 or 30 points, I think 30 points against Ohio State, which again is not a great team, but still. I think I'm going to take the home team in this one. I'll take Purdue.
Purdue?
Though I'm not confident. I'm not confident picking either one.
All right, and then the next one is surprisingly actually the ABC primetime game, and that's Indiana on the road against Penn State. Why in the world this is the ABC primetime game and you got all the great games this week is beyond me. But
It might
this
as
is the
well make UConn
primetime.
Vanderbilt the primetime game.
Yeah, UConn Vanderbilt
That'll be
should
a more
be the
competitive game.
7:30 ABC game.
It'll be more competitive.
It will be. I mean, it is 7:30 ESPNU for those of you who want to watch it. I will be, along with four other games, but you know. So Indiana 2-2 on the road against Penn State. Penn State has looked nothing short of fantastic. Indiana really has kind of disappointed so far this year, so I'm not too thrilled with Indiana having a shot in this one. So give me Penn State winning this one, honestly, pretty handily. Indiana has not impressed me. Penix is not looking too good. He doesn't look healthy. He doesn't look the same. So I got Penn State winning pretty handily.
I mean, look at this. All these 4 o'clock window games, or I guess 7 o'clock window for you guys. Mississippi State and Texas A&M would have been a more competitive game. Baylor and Oklahoma State would have been a more competitive game. Boston College at Clemson, that would have been a more competitive game. Indiana's getting it run off the freaking field. Give me the. No, they won't get run off the field because Penn State doesn't score very many points. But either way, give me Penn State a pretty handy victory over the Hoosiers.
Oklahoma on the road against Kansas State. I picked this for my shocker of the week. And honestly, I'm picking it here. I do not like Oklahoma's team. I honestly completely regret choosing them as a fantasy team. They have not looked good. They are the best team in the Big 12, but they're not going to be a college football playoff team. That was my idea when I drafted them, which was a stupid decision. Um, so I have Kansas State winning this one. It would be big. Kansas State's got a chip on their shoulder. They've beaten Oklahoma 2 years in a row now. They're looking to make it three. That's a big time accomplishment for a team that's consistently in the top 10. So I think Kansas State, especially at home, Kansas State's a home team in this game. I have Kansas State winning this one. They're the underdog yet again. They're going to be playing with some fire. Yes, they don't have Skylar Thompson, but their running back is their big player, anyways. So I have Kansas State winning this one. Very close game, but I have Kansas State.
I don't know. I just think Oklahoma's going to be out for blood, especially because they don't think Purdy's how bad they are. And how not great they are, especially after being close with West Virginia in prime time. He's not a bad team, but at home, and then Spencer Rattler getting his backup called for by his own home fans. I don't know if I can trust the Will Howard team. Oklahoma lost this team 2 straight years. I don't think they're looking to make it a third. Give me the Sooners. No one could go either way.
That's a safe pick. I don't blame you. That's a safe pick. And now the next one is USC on the road against Colorado. After seeing what USC has been doing this year, I have 100% confidence in Colorado. USC looks terrible. I saw them playing against Oregon State. That defense is awful. They're playing on the road. Yeah, Colorado's not a great team, but
Terrible.
so is USC. USC is bad, dude. I watched them play against Oregon State. I watched them play against Stanford. They look terrible in both games. They have no defense. Slavis does not look good. He's also hurt now. That Dart guy's hurt. And their team's just bad. So give me Colorado. I do not trust USC whatsoever. That team is awful. They're bad.
See, I don't trust USC, but as much as I don't trust USC, I don't trust Colorado. I don't. Colorado is just awful all year long. I mean, getting blanked at home is embarrassing. And then having ASU come to town and kick your butt, or is it, and it's a noon game. Oh, was that? It was a noon. And it's a noon game. Technically, it's 11 a.m. game. It's like a 2 o'clock game. Colorado does not do good if it's not at night. So give me USC. I'm not confident that these two teams. Both these teams are not great, but I'm at least confident that USC is a better team than Colorado. I mean, you've seen USC when they play really bad teams like Washington State. They do the crap out of Washington State. So I think they'll do that against Colorado. I think Oregon State's at least a decent team. I don't think Colorado or Washington State are good team at all, or even close to a decent team. I think Colorado's more on the Washington State level, so giving USC pretty easy. They're pretty close. They can go either way. I don't really.
Just like this next one with Boston College on the road against Clemson. 4-0 Boston College. They're undefeated this year. They have a win against, they just beat Missouri last week in overtime. Big win for Boston College. And playing their big rival, the Clemson Tigers, who are coming off the big upset and just hung on to that ranking to keep their streak alive at number 25. Probably the only reason they're ranked, but you know. So Clemson at 2-2. Uh, this is a 50-50 game, but with the Tigers at home and losing to NC State, I have Clemson winning a close one at home against Boston College. I think Clemson survives.
I think Boston College is probably the better team, but this state. But Clemson's mad. Clemson knows they're basically out of the ACC race if they lose to Boston College. That's 2 ACC losses. That basically like dooms you. Well, I don't know if it dooms you with this year's ACC because I can see every team in the Atlantic having 2 ACC losses. That's just how it is. But I don't think Clemson gives that up. I think Clemson knows they're not going to make the playoffs, but they at least want to keep their ACC championship streak alive. So yeah, give me Clemson.
Speaking of ACC Atlantic teams, we have Louisville on the road against number 20, newly ranked number 24, Wake Forest. Wake Forest undefeated this year. Louisville looks like a solid team. I mean, they have their one losses to Ole Miss, which looks actually really good right now. They have a big win against UCF. I like this Louisville team. Wake Forest, I don't really know much about Wake Forest. They really manhandled Virginia. So I think this is a 50-50 game. I don't know much about Wake Forest, but I'm going to go with Wake Forest in this one. They're undefeated. Louisville, I have seen before. They look like a solid team, but I'm really impressed to see what Wake did on the road to Virginia. That's not easy to do. So I have number 24 Wake Forest winning this one at home against Louisville. But it's a 50-50 game. I could see it going the other way.
I still think Wake Forest should be number 22 for the team. I think Wake Forest is the best team in the Atlantic. I think Wake Forest could win the Atlantic. I don't think they're going to be looking to lose to a team like Louisville. Not Louisville's bad. Louisville's pretty decent. But I think Wake Forest is a better team. Wake Forest is at home. Wake Forest has all the confidence in the world. Give me the Demon Deacons to defend home field. Especially after their impressive win last week at Virginia.
All right. And the next one is Auburn on the road against LSU. This is an interesting game right here. Because Auburn is kind of just been up and down. They've kind of been everywhere. Then you look at LSU, and really since that UCLA loss, they've been a lot better. I mean, they made it close with Mississippi State last week, but LSU has continued to basically look significantly better since that loss to UCLA, which isn't a bad loss by any stretch of the imagination. UCLA is a solid overall team. They're still in the top 25. I mean, they lost to Fresno, who is also ranked. I mean, that's not a bad loss for LSU. So I really think this is another kind of like a 50-50 game. Either team wins. I think LSU has just as good of a chance as Auburn to win this one. With quarterback concerns and Bo Nix being benched, I have LSU. It's a home game for the Tigers. Well, for the LSU Tigers, they're both Tigers actually. It's a home game for LSU. The entire area over there is suffering because of Hurricane Ida. They're going to have a chip on their shoulder. I think Auburn comes up just a bit short. I have the Tigers and Coach O in the upset.
So that you got a better game to put to this I don't really trust the Tigers offense too much, the LSU Tigers offense too much, but neither do I trust the other Tigers offense too much. So yeah, usually my rule of thumb in these games, if they're pretty close, I give it to the home team. So I pick LSU in this one.
All right, and the next one would have been really good, but I just figured out something just recently, so I don't think it'll be as good of a game. But that's Texas Tech on the road against West Virginia. Now, I say what I said earlier because Texas Tech just lost their starting quarterback to a broken collarbone. Tyler Schroe is out now. So that completely changes everything I was thinking about for this game, which I now have West Virginia winning this one very handily. I was going to pick West Virginia anyway, but with Tyler Schroe, Texas Tech is a much different looking team. Without Tyler Schroe, this I don't see this Texas Tech team really being able to compete with the Mountaineers. Give me West Virginia.
So, give me West Virginia in that one.
All right, that was pretty quick, and now we need to go quick anyway. We got the next one, which is Virginia on the road against Miami, Florida. Here's a 50-50 game. These two teams, Virginia has been kind of okay. Miami, Florida has been a little bit disappointing. We've seen Miami, Florida in home games, and no one apparently wants to show up. So I think this is going to be a very fun game. I think this is one that goes either way. With Miami, Florida at home, I mean, I guess it really doesn't make much of a difference at this point. Honestly, I'm going to give the edge to Virginia. I haven't seen enough out of Miami, Florida to really convince me that they'll win this game. De'Ara King has just not looked good. He's in the same situation as Michael Penix. He hasn't looked the same since tearing his ACL, which is so unfortunate because he's a great quarterback and he really has not played the same since that serious injury. But that's just how it is sometimes. I give the edge to the Virginia Cavaliers. Over to you.
Yeah, we'll talk about disappointing fantasy picks with your Oklahoma and Miami. And I'm picking against them. Give me Virginia in this one easily. Not easily, but pretty easily. Pretty convincingly. I don't trust Miami at all.
And now we have the next one, which is the Tennessee Volunteers on the road against Missouri. Another 50-50 game. I don't know where to go here. I mean, Tennessee is really between quarterbacks with Hendon Hooker from Virginia Tech and then obviously Michigan's own Joe Milton.
Go with Hooker.
Yeah, I would go with Hendon Hooker too. But Tennessee, average team. Missouri, kind of the same. 50-50 ball. Uh, Missouri, I'll go with Missouri. They're the home team. And just because Joe Milton is quarterback at Tennessee, I don't know. I think he's healthy. I think he's going to play now for him. So give me Missouri.
Give me Missouri too. Tennessee. I don't trust Tennessee at all.
All right. And, well, if you're a Michigan fan, hopefully, like both of us, this might be a game you're waiting for us to pick. The Michigan Wolverines on the road against Wisconsin. I am terrified. I am terrified for this game.
They don't want to Camp Randall since 2001.
That's one of the reasons why I am incredibly terrified. Wisconsin does not look like it. They're not a good team. This is not a good Wisconsin team. Graham Mertz looks like a 2020 fluke. The defense is decent. I mean, they got one win. We saw them against Notre Dame. They were terrible. Jack Cohn threw all over.
Really good. The defense was really good until the fourth quarter. Then they just got eviscerated after the kickoff return. That kind of switched in momentum, and then Jack Cohn went out, and they're like, and Notre Dame was like, oh, we're better off without Jack Cohn apparently.
Yeah, this Wisconsin team, I am not impressed by this Wisconsin team. I do like the running back, but Michigan is very good against the run. So I think this is a game that goes either way. Michigan has not played well in Camp Randall. Their play calling is terrible on offense. So this is a major league homer pick, but I'm taking Michigan.
I'm taking Michigan too. I'm a homer.
Well, we're both homers. What a surprise! But I think Michigan does have a chance of winning this game. I mean, they definitely have a chance of winning. I think they have a very good opportunity of winning this game. I think they should honestly win this game, but yes, it's the Wolverines. It's Jim Harbaugh. You never know with this team. But we both have the Wolverines. Let's just pray it actually works. And now, next one is one I'm very excited for. I so badly want to see this game. I mean, there's obviously a lot of good games this week, but this is one I'm very excited for. And that's the Baylor Bears, newly ranked number 21 Baylor, on the road against newly ranked number 19 Oklahoma State. Expect a lot of scoring. There is going to be scoring galore in this game. It is going to be your old-fashioned Big 12 shootout. I'm thinking something around along the lines of like 50-40 range. It's going to be a ton of fun. Neither of these teams really have great defenses. Spencer Sanders, great quarterback. Baylor looked outstanding against Iowa State last week. I'm expecting a lot of fireworks, but I have Oklahoma State being the one with the most in the end.
I want to pick Baylor. That was funny, but I did publicly say that I would not pick against Oklahoma State anymore. So I would pick
And
the Cowboys again.
also, Oklahoma State, they are very good at home, also. In Stillwater, they're very difficult to beat. That's another reason why I'm taking Oklahoma State. But anyway, now we get on to one of the two giant SEC matchups. Both top SEC teams are having big time tests this week. But here's one of them, and that's Alabama at home against the number 12 ranked Ole Miss Runnin' Rebels.
Time to see what Matt Corral is made out of. Time to see if he's really a Heisman frontrunner or not. How does he do in Tuscaloosa? It's gonna be a great game. Again, I feel like I'm getting very much like the feeling of 29, maybe not as high scoring or as closely competitive, but I'm getting like 2019 LSU Alabama vibes from this game. Just really good offenses that are just going to be firing back and forth. I think Ole Miss has a good chance to catch Alabama and beat them, but I would be stupid to pick against Alabama at home, so I'm not going to pick against Alabama. So give me the Crimson Tide, but I think this is a hyper competitive, high scoring game with the potential to go at.
Yeah, me personally, zero faith in Ole Miss to even make this close. This is a wipeout for the Crimson Tide. I think Ole Miss has a decent team, but this Alabama team is absolutely superior compared to Ole Miss. Ole Miss has a great offense. They'll put up some points. I'm sure they will. I'm sure they'll get to maybe that 30 range. Bama will put up 60. This Ole Miss team has zero defense. There's no way they're stopping Bryce Young. Give me Alabama big in this one.
I mean, I haven't seen anything from Alabama that tells me they're going to score 60 points, though.
Have
That's the
you
one
seen Ole
thing.
Miss's defense? It's bad. That Ole Miss defense cannot stop anybody,
I
and
mean,
they're
I know
not stopping Bama.
they also only scored 48 points against Mercer and 44 points against Miami.
You know, that's a Bama. Alabama always does that. They go up against the no name schools, and then they'll just kind of they'll put up a million points, and then they're just like, we're done, and just coast through the rest of the game because they can get away with it. That's what Bama does every single time they play one of those Mercer teams or New Mexico State or something like that. I have seen Ole Miss's defense, and it's just not good. People shred that Ole Miss defense apart.
Their offense could give Alabama's defense trouble. Matt Corral looks.
Well, it could be good, but I don't see Ole Miss being able to shut down Bama whatsoever. Anyway, next one is going to be a dogfight. Cincinnati on the road against Notre Dame. Here's another 50-50 game. Notre Dame had a really good week last week against Wisconsin. Cincinnati has a nice win against Indiana. This is their other huge game. They got two giant non-conference games. They had one against Indiana. They won that one decently handily, and now they have Notre Dame on the road. This is a hard one to choose because Notre Dame, I would totally picked Cincinnati at the beginning of the year after seeing Notre Dame, but now I've seen them have a decent game against Purdue and then smoke Wisconsin. So I'm on the fence on who to choose here because I think this is, Notre Dame is much better now than they were at the beginning of the season. So I want to take Cincinnati because I'm obviously, well, neither of us obviously are Notre Dame fans, but Notre Dame has looked a lot better, and I think they'll pull out the win. Especially at home, I have faith in Notre Dame just to be able to slip by. This is a game that Cincinnati easily could win, but I think Notre Dame just barely, something like a 3 point game yet again. I think Notre Dame just sneaks away, especially like I said, especially at home. Notre Dame is South Bend is very hostile, so I think Notre Dame slips away yet again with another win.
Also, I forgot the stat, but I think it was 9 out of their 12 games Notre Dame has to play a team that's coming out of a bye week. Like 8 or 9 of their games, they have to play a team that's coming out of a bye week, and that's no different here. Cincinnati coming out of the bye week. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but something just clicked for that Notre Dame team in the fourth quarter of Wisconsin, and I think they carried that momentum into this game. Hit them early, hit them hard early. I think that momentum kind of wears down as the game goes on. It becomes a close dogfight near the end of the game. But I think Notre Dame gets off to a hot start, and that's enough to carry them to the end. Much like Alabama against Florida, getting out to a hot start and having just enough to coast to the end of the game or carry them to the end of the game. I think that's the same thing that happens here. Notre Dame comes out firing on all cylinders and then
All right, and now we have the game of the week. This is where college game day is, but game of the week of the Georgia Bulldogs at home against the Arkansas Razorbacks. Arkansas definitely has been a giant shocker this year. No one saw this team being any good, and they have been nothing short of absolutely impressive. I think this is another game that is very interesting. I think Arkansas you know, funnily enough, Ole Miss and Arkansas obviously have Bama and Georgia this week. They play each other next week, so that'll be an interesting game. But
a stretch. They have a stretch of tough games. A&M, Georgia, Ole Miss, then Auburn.
yeah, Auburn isn't that bad of a game, but
I mean, it's the SEC, but still a 3 game stretch of A&M, Georgia, and at Ole Miss.
yeah, that's rough. But this is a good one here. Arkansas on the road against Georgia. I don't think this is going to be nearly as much as a blowout as Bama will be against Ole Miss. I still think Georgia wins though pretty handily. I think Georgia's got the better team. Arkansas does look good. I think they're a solid team. I think they're definitely a top 25 team. 8, I think, might be a little bit of a stretch. I think Georgia's got a significantly better team. That defense is otherworldly. The offense isn't the greatest, but that defense is otherworldly. I don't see Arkansas. They have a great receiver, but Georgia's defense is just so good. I don't really see Arkansas being able to get on any kind of a roll offensively, which could end up being a low-scoring dogfight. But I got Georgia winning this one, maybe by like 2 scores, I would say.
Georgia wins by 14 or 20.
Yeah, 14. I'd say 14-11, something like that.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it for me. Over to you.
Perfect. Well, no, I just literally said Georgia. that was my pick. I'm just saying we're done.
Oh.
I don't got much else to say other than just Georgia.
All right. Well, that is it for our picks. Now we'll have Sam actually for our NFL picks, which is coming up next. So that's it for us. You know where all the latest stuff is. So that's it for us. We'll see you on the next video. Adios, everybody.